Welcome to this week's episode of Success in Women. Today we're going to be talking about friendships. Now, of course, you know we've started to give you the tip of the week. So Andrea is going to give you your tip for this week.
Hi, ladies. So for our age group, a lot of times we find ourselves forgetting things like where did I put the keys, or did I lock the door, did I take a pill? Well, I've learned this tip now that when you do that action, you say it out loud to yourself. Hopefully nobody's around thinking you're, really lost it. But if, like for instance, for myself, at night I have to take my one pill. And a lot of times I found myself taking it and then doing something else and coming back and not remembering. So now I say, I've taken my pill. I'm taking my pill. So then when I go off, I come back and it works. I remember that I took my pill.
That's a very good tip, Andrea, and it actually reminds me of a joke. And I hope I didn't tell you this before, but if I did, for the ones who haven't seen all the episodes, it will be new for them. And I heard about this couple because they were always forgetting as well. And so what happened was the older couple went to the doctor, and the doctor said, listen, when you ask something of each other, then make sure you write it down so that you don't forget. Because it's easy to forget. Mm-hmm. We all get distracted and we forget. And the older we become, the harder or the easier it is to actually get distracted. So this wife said one day, her and her husband were watching TV, and she said, I feel like a bowl of ice cream. I'm going to go in the kitchen and get some ice cream. And the husband says, no, I'll get it. And she goes, well, remember what the doctor said, write it down. He goes, I'm not going to forget to get the ice cream when I go to the kitchen. It's only in the next room. She said, fine. So anyway, a few minutes later, he finally gets back and he hands his wife a plate of bacon and eggs. And she goes, I told you you'd forget. You forgot the toast. You should have written it down. I thought it was cute because it was a totally different thing, but she even forgot that she wanted ice cream and not breakfast. Anyway, but things happen, cute. And you gotta look at the humorous side of life.
Exactly.
So today we're going to talk about friendship, and one of the things that I was thinking about recently is that we can have a circle of friends that is a big circle or a tight circle. But you have to look at your friends every so often and think, are these friends that are enhancing my life and helping me to go further in my life, so they're enhancing my success in whatever that is for you? Or are they taking something away because they're not supportive? Many, many years ago, Andrea and I were friends, and we talked about this a number of times. We grew up on the same street. Our moms were friends. We lost contact. We reconnected. But when we reconnected, we started to add value to each other, because regardless of what was going on, we actually could build and be supportive of each other. And then to the point where we started this online talk show together. Mm-hmm. Do you have friends like that? Or do you have friends that your circle is so big that you have to be careful and you have them in categories, but that you're allowing them enough of your time and your space where they're dragging you down instead of building you up?
Right. No, it's true, because, I think when we were younger, we had so many friends. Friends for business, friends for, the dance, when my kids were in dance. And, some of them were supportive, some of them not so supportive. Some mothers would be jealous or envious of your child's success. And some were like, hey, you go girl, and so you want to gravitate to those people because you support their children also. And then later on in life, I found that once the kids are out of those type of things, your group does tend to get smaller. And I do tend to want to be with my friends that lift you up, like we can laugh and have fun. It's not about, doom and gloom. Like when I phone somebody and they start talking about, especially this last couple of years over COVID, I'd say, you know what? I don't want to talk about that. It is what it is. And let's have a conversation about positive things. And then, okay. And then you feel better. You just feel better.
One of the things that I had heard I listen, okay, I'm going to admit this. I listen to Joel Osteen a lot when I'm in the car.
Oh, so do I.
And I find it very uplifting.
We went
And
to see him in Toronto, remember?
We did.
Yes.
Actually, we had a nice group of
Oh,
people that
yes.
we all went to see him in person. And that was kind of exciting. And the thing is, I find Joel very uplifting. But today,
Very.
what he was talking about was the fact that in your circle, so he said Jesus had really 10 very good friends in his circle. And that was the 12, 12, sorry,
I was going
the
to
12,
say, wait
no,
a
the
second.
12 disciples.
What happened to the other two?
Yeah. But why
Well,
I was getting to that is because he had 12 good friends in the circle, but in his tighter circle, he had 3 friends.
Mm-hmm.
But in his very, very close, like a brother type of friend, he had 1. And because he knew when he was doing anything, which one would be uplifting and supporting whatever he was going to be doing. And so he kept his circle very tight. So being Jesus, he could have had like thousands of people as his friend or people that wanted to be his friend, but they wouldn't all be good for the mission that he was on. And even within the 12 disciples, he kept certain things down to his 3 best friends, and in some cases, his 1 best friend. And I started to think about that, and I looked at my own little circle and, you know, what people, because yesterday I was listening to another speaker, a person called Darren Hardy. He helps people. He's I guess the editor, or was the editor of Success Magazine. And but he talked also about the circle of friends that you have. And which people are you spending the most time with? And are they really supporting your mission, whatever that is?
Right.
And I started to look at that and I thought, wow, I'm 2 days in a row now, I'm getting people talking about my circle. Now, one of the things about me is that I don't have a huge circle of friends anyway. I know a lot of people, but I'm not close to a lot of people. But I also realized that over the years, those friends that I'll say have served their purpose, like scaffolding on a building, you have the support. They're there for either a season, a reason, or a lifetime. Some of these people were not lifetime friends. And so I've been able to eliminate them from my life because they weren't building me up, but in some ways they were actually tearing me down and not supportive in the mission that I have to go forward with what my life is. And it's one of those things where every so often I think you have to look at who are you spending the most time with? And I'm not talking about just your family, but even with that, Andrea, sometimes you can have friends within your family that are always so negative that you have to start looking and saying, that's not really me and that's not really who I want to, because if you don't build them up, they're going to take you down.
Yes. And you have those friends that you feel they're draining just because you always are trying to lift them up. That their life, they're so consumed with, say, what's going on in their life. And I know it's nice to help and to give them support, but when it's constant, and they always say, like, those people that ask you always for your advice, what should I do? And you give them good, sound, positive advice, but they never use it. And then they come back a month later and everything's the same. And you just get drained talking to them, you know, about the same situation over and over, because essentially I can't do anything. I can give you advice, but if you don't act on it, there's nothing I can do. So you tend to not get in contact with those people. You know, like a lot of times they say, oh, I haven't talked to so-and-so for a while. I should, no, I don't have an hour to spend, you know, listening, right? So I think what I find is, if it's hard to keep a friendship going, it's not for you.
And you know, that's an interesting point, because actually my assistant often, but this was years ago, used to tell me, she goes, if you have to work really hard, then it's not even a friend.
That's right.
And you know how true that's been for me over the years, when you think that the people that you had in your life were actually your friend, and then you realize you're the one doing all the work.
All the work.
And trying to keep the relationship going.
And once you stop putting in the work, you don't hear from them.
Yeah.
Or, it's not the same. They're not calling you for this or that. Or circumstances might change in your life. Like maybe you used to love going out partying. And then all of a sudden you have children or something happens that you're not able to do that. You don't hear from those people anymore, because so that's, like you say, a season, a reason,
Or a lifetime.
or a lifetime. And I had a friend once, and I met her out of the blue, totally out of the blue, and we became very close very quickly. And she was from Europe, and she was new here. She was married, and we knew her husband. He was a great guy. Got very close with my husband. But a couple years after, this is how quickly it was. We met them. 3 weeks later, they were getting married, and they invited us to their wedding. They wanted us there. So we went. We had a great time. But shortly after, a year or two after, he got terminal cancer.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was only 40-some years old. And she had basically nobody here, and except her in-laws, who didn't quite take to her, let's put it that way. So her and I, if it wasn't for her and I being friends, she would have been completely alone through this journey that she went on. And when he passed away, she didn't know what to do, like funeral and this and that. So, I basically stayed with her 24/7 for a good week or so. After this happened, I was in the hospital 3 nights. I went for a visit and I left 3 days later.
Wow.
But I couldn't leave her.
Yeah.
And then after he passed away, we saw each other a little bit. But now it's been, oh my goodness, it must be 10 years or so. And I've seen her, I think, once, just because, she's in a different space, and I still love her to death. And I happened to run into her at the grocery store one day, and it was wonderful. But it's not the same.
No, but it was
a reason for her.
Yes.
For her to be friends with me.
Right.
Because she needed somebody, and God
Yep.
knew that I would
Do
do
it.
what had to be done.
Yep. And it's true. But sometimes if you're, I'll say, ambitious, whether it's, in a career or something you want to do, because even for us doing this online show, we have friends that are not encouraging us and saying, that, watched your episode and love it. And, you girls, this is really great that you guys could do this kind of thing. We're not hearing that kind of encouragement.
No.
And, these are people we thought are very, very good friends. But you look at that, and is somebody holding you back in your career path? That because they're just saying, you really don't have the qualification. There's going to be a lot of people better than you. Don't even bother trying. I just wouldn't bother. Well, those are not really good friends.
Those
because
are negative, really negative.
And they want to keep you
vibrations.
At their, yes,
and
they want
who
to.
needs that?
You don't need it, and
No.
you don't want to be kept at their level either, because maybe they might be successful financially, but maybe they don't have a lot going on in life, and they don't want you having something that's exciting and new.
Well, you know what they say, Linda. Misery loves company.
Yes, it does, right? Yes.
And it's like if you're trying to go on a diet, or if you're trying to
Yep.
quit smoking, you'll always have those friends that say, "Oh, come on, just have one."
Exactly.
You can eat tomorrow. You can start tomorrow. You don't need that. Like when I've tried certain things, I just say, "No, listen, please respect my what I'm
decision,
doing
yeah.
here. My decision. And
But it's true. And actually, that was a good point, Andrea, because I also remember when you had told me, and I hope this is okay to tell everybody, when you were drinking excessively and you had stopped, you had made the decision that you were going to stop. And people, when you would go out publicly, say, "Oh, you're no fun anymore."
Yeah.
Like, what kind of support is that when you feel it's something that you want to do for yourself, for your family, and they all of a sudden don't think that you're a fun person anymore?
Mm-hmm.
that's not a friend, because all of a sudden now, where they should be saying, great for you going this long and being able to be around other people drinking and stuff, and you know that you can pass it. I really commend you for what you've done.
Thank you.
And you know, and they're just trying to tear you down, and well,
Yeah.
you know what, one drink's not going to hurt.
One drink, just have one. Come on, have a sip of wine, you know. And yeah, I had a lot of that. And you know what's funny is that what I think happens too is when you first say to people that know you as a party animal, a drinker, or whatever, which I was for, you know, a good while, and I don't think they believe you. That's the hard part. They don't believe you that you're really going to do this. So they're like, oh, come on, have a drink, you know, what the heck? Because they don't see the bad part of the drinking. They see the fun, you're out having fun, the good part. But they don't see you when you get home and, you know, you're acting silly or arguing with your husband or whatever. They don't see that. So, but I found some of them after they realized, after 3 months, 6 months, they realized this is really happening and she's doing it. Then they were more supportive, or saying, "Wow, good for you." You know, I didn't think you know, you do it. You know, and even my own family. You know, and but yeah, it's tough. And the ones that were still drinking and having fun with me, those are friends that I no longer have.
And that's part of that circle of friends that you know, you have to let in the ones that are really going to be there for you, because we only have
you
so
know what,
much
Linda,
time.
that's the thing. That was the common thread that kept us friends.
Oh,
See, so once that's gone,
the reason.
Yeah. And so then it was no longer a fun friendship.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to figure out what's good for you at the moment that you're in. Like, and it's like if you have a lot of small children. When I had small children, I wanted friends that had small children so that we could do things together. And if some of my friends who didn't have them, they would say, well, can't you get away? Can't you, you know, leave the kids with your husband and go out? You know, so it's tough to keep those friendships. Yeah. So keep the friends that, you know, are helping you in your situation and not putting any added stress on you.
True enough. And I guess that's what happens then. You go through cycles in your lifetime where your circle changes. But you do have sometimes those key people that will always be that lifetime friend.
They come back, like
they
you,
do,
like my other girlfriend who never had children. Now we're back. We're great. It's true friendship will always find its way back.
Right, because there was nothing to split it apart. No. It's just life and circumstances. Yeah. Absolutely. And the other thing is too, when you have your good circle of friends, if something's going on, whether it's you're having a bad day or they're having a bad day, and something was said maybe that really bothers you, let it go. Just say, you know what, I realized that they were having a bad day, or you took it wrong because you were having a bad day. But don't ruin your friendship. Don't ruin your night. Don't ruin your day the next day, because if you're thinking about that and you're really ticked off, you're going to go to sleep, not have a good sleep, and you're going to wake up still thinking about it and have a bad day.
Exactly.
But nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But make sure that your friends that you have are as close to your morals and values and other things that are important to you.
That's
so that
the
they're
core
supportive.
things, the morals and your values. If someone doesn't believe in, you know, how would I say, like they think having affairs or going out partying, drinking while your husband's at home, and if that's not what you consider a good time, then maybe that's not a friend for you, you know, because that could get you in trouble. You might go out with them and find yourself in a situation that you're not happy about. Yeah. And so you have to decide, you know, if that's what you want out of a friendship.
Right. And you know, the other thing that I hear sometimes people don't actually want to say anything to their friends, especially if they're toxic friends, because they think, well, I'll be alone. And that could be even with a relationship with a man. You might think, well, I'd rather have somebody in my life than nobody because I'll be alone. But by doing that, not only does it keep you down and keep you back, but it prevents you from being open to meeting new people.
Yes.
If you didn't have that friend that was really toxic, maybe you'd be going out maybe to, join groups like hiking groups or different
Right.
things and meeting new people.
That's what I say even to my daughters, that one that was in a relationship for a long time. And I said, this relationship's going nowhere. Like, cut it loose and get out there. And, by staying in this relationship, you're not out there meeting new people. And you're just getting more down and depressed. And so that's what we're working on right now. And that's what I say to a lot of my friends. Join a club.
Yeah.
Join like a rowing club, a golfing community,
Absolutely.
skiing club, playing cards, like whatever you enjoy doing. Join a club. You don't know who you're going to meet. At our curling club, I know so many people that met their lifetime partners there just by joining the Friday night social. So you never know. Just
And this isn't
get out
even
there.
and this isn't even a dating show, and we're
Yes.
giving you a little tip on how you can possibly meet somebody.
Exactly.
But anyway, so we just want you to kind of look at your circle of friends and see if they're worth keeping in your tiny circle. You can have the big circle for different circumstances, but keep your circle quite tiny and keep it supportive with really good, well-meaning friends.
And positive.
Yes. So if you like this week's episode, don't forget to
Like,
subscribe,
and please share.
and we will see you next week. I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
Until next week.
Bye, ladies.